Well, it's 10:02, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with our second webinar. So welcome to At Home with Holland Home. I'm Michael Loafman, Director of Sales here at Holland Home. I am joined by the sales team on this webinar, Victoria and Cindy at our Bretton Woods campus and Kathy Riebel at our Raybrook campus. So we're going to, okay. I'm glad you can see us and hear us, so that's great. So what we're going to do, this has been one of our most popular events of having residents talk about the experience of coming into Holland Home. We can talk about it as a sales team, but talking to people that have actually gone through the process from that side has been very helpful. So we had this scheduled, a panel scheduled in late March. And so when everything kind of shut down, that of course was canceled. And so we're now in this new era of Zoom. And like I said on our first webinar, in February, I thought Zoom was a noise. And now I spend my life on Zoom. So, but what we're going to do today is we're going to introduce our residents that are on our panelists today. And we've got some questions for them. And then if you all have questions for Kwasi and Sophia, we will just type that out in the Q&A box there on your screen for Zoom. I've already gotten a couple, so we'll start with those at that time. But if you have questions, I'd be happy to give that to Kwasi and Sophia so they can answer those. And then after we're all done with this, your person on the sales team, either myself or Kathy or Victoria or Cindy, will follow up just to see what questions you might have following this. Now, if you're local to Grand Rapids, you should have received or will be receiving in the next few minutes a sticky bun from our kitchen here at Holland Home. So we hope you enjoy that. If you don't have it yet, you will. So it'll be either something you can enjoy now or enjoy right after the program. So it's my pleasure. I've been really excited about this to welcome Kwasi and Sophia to the panel today. They are just a great couple here at Bretton Woods. So I'm going to just start off with some of my questions with them, and we'll get started here. So good morning. So could the two of you go ahead and introduce yourselves to everybody on the call here or on the webinar, and tell like where you came from, where you live, and how long you've been here?
All right, my name is Sophia Fosua, and born originally in Kansas. I got lots of Wizard of Oz jokes when I was growing up. Raised in Kansas and Oklahoma, we have been traveling as United Methodist ministers. Both of us are ordained. We've been overseas missionaries. And most recently, before coming to Holland Home, we were at Indiana Wesleyan University's Wesley Seminary as seminary professors there. So we've been here for about 2.5 years.
That's great.
Kwasi Kana, same portfolio, except that I grew up in across the lake in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We met in seminary. We tell people we have moved 18 times, so we kind of know the moving routine, both domestically and internationally. So that's been part of our lives. We've only been in one place 10 years, and that was Nashville. So Sophia has retired from full-time teaching at the seminary, but I still got a few more years later left in my contract.
Okay, well, great. And tell our viewers today, where do you live at Holland Home?
Oh, we're in Bretton Woods. We're in the homes, as they call them.
Okay.
And a very lovely 2-level home. It's very similar to the condo we had in Nashville. We were able to customize it to meet our needs. You see books behind. This is my office space here in the condo down on the lower level. And my husband has one as well. But we were able to customize and make the home fit what our lifestyle was like.
And we intentionally used the term lower level because this does not feel like a basement at all. The ceilings are high. We We had the drywall and the drop ceiling and the canned lights and everything put in. It had a powder room and so forth. And when you walk down here, it really does feel like another level. It doesn't feel like you're walking into a basement.
Well, that's great. That's great. And I will say it does look like a professor's space there with all the books. So you've fit
Moved
the
the
bill
stacks
there.
off the desk before we started.
So before you came to Holland Home, you had to first make a decision and decide to move here. How
Yeah.
did you do that? Can you tell us a little bit about that process that you went through, that many of our people on the webinar are probably going through?
Well, we knew we were nearing the end of our professional careers as professors. We were getting near retirement age. And we said, all right, so where do we want to be? Now, we love New York City when we were there, but it's too expensive. We love Seattle, but it's too expensive. So after we threw out the highs, we said, where is a comparable market that we might be able to move? And in the meantime, we started going to what was then Calvin College, now Calvin University, to some events there. And we fell in love with Grand Rapids. We started coming here for vacations on the 4th of July. We loved the arts here, the diversity. It was wonderful. And we said, this feels like a good place, talking about Grand Rapids. So we investigated another retirement place, but it was new. It was prefab homes. It was kind of up on concrete blocks. And we said, good strong wind and that might blow away.
Yeah.
And then we started looking at real estate, and we just got a knot in our stomachs, because if you move from one home to another home, there's still one more move you've got to make. So we said we might as well continue looking at some kind of retirement community, and did not have the language of this place here, which was, a continuing care retirement community. So we happened to be driving around just on a lark. We came down 36th Street, ran into the T-Bone at Schaefer, and we came up and we saw this new housing development here, which was the North homes that were being built, and we said, oh, this is a retirement community.
Yeah.
So we got the number off of the billboard, and we called, and we were connected to someone over to the campus that's near Calvin.
The Raybrook campus.
The Raybrook campus.
Yes.
And from there, we got an interview, and we found out, oh, it's going to take 5 years, and our hearts kind of sank a little bit.
Yeah.
We didn't realize how long it takes to prepare to come to a community like this. But we got on the waiting list. You sign up for it, and we came back, and months went by, and then Sophia happened to be looking on the website here, and she said, oh, they've got another campus here that we didn't realize. Called and said, there's another campus here. Can we get on that waiting list, or can we be on 2 waiting lists at the same time? They said, oh, that's fine, that's fine. How long was the wait? 18 months. Oh, our hearts lifted. And then that was about Thanksgiving.
About 4 months later, we got a call.
Because you're on a waiting list, but there were snowbirds ahead of us that didn't want to come back in the wintertime to look at some of the prospective homes. So we moved up in the line. We looked at 3 or 4 properties.
We looked at about 3 or 4, and this one, once we walked in, we said, this is our home. I mean, the other ones were lovely. Some of them had too much room for us. We're empty nesters, of course, but this one, we walked in and we both knew this is the place that we needed to settle in.
Wow, that's awesome. What a great story, and just such a fluke that you found us. So
yeah, really.
So aside from being at Calvin, do you have any other Grand Rapids connections prior to coming here?
None.
We have no family, no friends.
No one lives in Michigan but us now.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Well, we are thrilled that you are here. So now you probably had to overcome some challenges to move, right? Moving is not easy. Downsizing, maybe leaving a home you've been in for a while. Can you talk about some of those challenges and how you overcame them?
For us, moving has been our lifestyle because of the Methodist move, So we knew that if you were going to move, you needed to really kind of prepare for it. But our bigger challenge was going from a 4-bedroom into a 2-bedroom. And yet we weren't using all 4 bedrooms as bedrooms. 2 of them were using, yeah, there's a Methodist BK here. 2 of them were being used as offices. So then it was the challenge. Well, okay, 2 of these bedrooms are offices. One is a guest bedroom, the other's ours. Where will we put our offices? So we kind of mapped out in our minds. And that's why this lower level really worked for us, because we had a third interest. We had taken up weaving, you know, with the big looms and all of that, and hand spinning. You may see the big walking wheel back behind us, this great big old-fashioned spinning wheel. It was so big it had to come to my office space. But we needed to think about studio space because we were becoming serious about weaving and spinning, and we also needed to think of office space. So those were 2 challenges that were solved immediately by the customization of the lower level, which was an empty basement when we got it. The other thing was mapping out, what does the furniture fit this, you know, every time you go to a place, the furniture has usually been bought to fit the space. And so fitting the furniture into the space and all of that. So we got floor plans from you. And we took those floor plans and tape measures and mapped out spaces in our existing home to see what fit, what didn't fit. Then we just had a garage sale, and that was the end of it.
And we started gifting things to people.
Yes.
You need a lawnmower. You need a snowblower. You need a ladder.
Yeah, because you don't need those things here. So
no,
no,
absolutely not. And that was part of the attraction here as well. We don't need to do our own snow, and we don't need to do our own grass, but we are free to do, you know, lightweight gardening or plants or what have you, you know. So if you like to get your hands in the soil, oh, my neighbors have some of the most beautiful yards.
Yeah.
You know?
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how big was the house that you came out of? Because your home now is about 1,275 square feet on the main level. So you're in one of our smaller homes.
A smaller home.
Yeah.
1,275 on the main level. We have 800 of livable space on the lower level. We left 2,600. So it's like, yeah, it was a little bit of a loss there.
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the questions we had early, was like, how do you do that? How do you talked a little bit about that, but you know, giving some things away, space planning. It sounds like preparation was a big part of it.
Preparation, downsizing. I went through my kitchen cabinets. Our oldest son is a budding, he's a baker, and he has kind of like, not quite the food truck yet, but he has a little baking business. So I emptied out anything that I thought he could use in his business. The other son got all kinds of pots and pans and sets. You know how you accumulate things as you get older, you know. So we just began to distribute those things through family or friends or what have you, maybe as much as 6 months before the move.
Okay. We looked at the cabinet space in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we calculated, so how many
linear feet, you know.
So our model became, we need to fit the space. The space doesn't need to fit us. It doesn't need to fit our things.
Right.
So we said, okay, how much can we fit in the cabinets? Then we came back home and we had huge, very tall cabinets.
Up to the ceiling, yeah.
So we just emptied out the top shelf and said, well, this wouldn't fit. So empty out the top shelf so we could eyeball, you know, what actually was going to fit, and then everything else went in a box and went to our kids.
Well, that's really a practical suggestion.
We did simulations, you know.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion of how to kind of tackle it. That's awesome. So, and we'll talk about your weaving in a little bit, because I want to ask something about that. So I'm going to put you on the spot. This wasn't a question that I had earlier, but you you had to downsize a lot. Did you regret anything you got rid of?
No.
Okay.
Again, we've moved 18 times. We left all kinds of stuff in Ghana, West Africa, where we were. We left stuff there and we brought back artifacts. So, you know, I think because of our lifestyle, it was part of our lifestyle. So it wasn't as painful perhaps as someone who's lived in the same place for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right. But we kept the things that were meaningful to us. We kept things that were useful to us. But I think everybody experiences this thing with clutter. You know, you end up with, how many jelly jars do you really need? You know, so you end up with all this clutter, and then you put them in boxes in the garage, and, you know, so all that kind of stuff was easy to get rid of. The
Mhm.
other things that had meaning, we gave them to people who had a significance in our lives.
Okay.
So it wasn't just willy-nilly some strangers walking away with my,
Mhm.
no, we were very purposeful in gifting to people kind of as a goodbye gift, and as I want you to remember me, so here,
Mhm.
this has been part of my life now. I hope it's good, it's part of your life. So we were
Yeah,
very intentional
sure.
about gifting things along the way.
Sure. And then they could enjoy those things that maybe
Yes.
you weren't using, and
No.
now they
Sure.
have a new life. So
Right.
Yeah.
that's great.
Exactly. And lots of students have books now.
Okay.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
of course, there's always more downsizing. There's still downsizing we need to do. Everybody has hope clothes. You know, those clothes you hope you're going to get back into. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
now that we can't get in the gym right at the moment, the hope clothes are looking more and more like they're going to a
A distant
second
memory.
hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hope springs eternal, so don't
Yes.
never give up hope. So,
And
um,
if you missed, there are lots of nice secondhand shops that take
Yes.
donations, and they know our campus
Yeah.
here.
right, yeah,
Because sometimes you think you've got it, and then you say, no, 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 this just, why did I ever bring this?
right,
So there are lots of places that we can share that are doing meaningful ministry, doing good work in the community, and so forth. And you can feel good about if you have to give your things to a resale shop or what have
sure,
you.
yeah, great. Um, so tell me a little bit about what life is like now for you at Holland Home. I know you're still
Before or after
working.
COVID?
Say that again.
Before or after COVID?
Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a
Okay.
little bit of both.
Okay, before COVID, this big activity calendar, it was on 11 by 17 paper in little bitty print with grids, lines, a week on this side, a week on that side. We were overwhelmed with opportunities. Our neighbors advised us, don't try everything at once or you'll overload yourself. And so we selectively began to put our feet in the water, loved everything that we did, and the community is very welcoming, very kind-hearted, good people here. Since COVID, we have not been disappointed because I do not feel unsafe.
Mhm.
We are both high risk. And that was one of the reasons that we were attracted here too. We're both high risk health-wise, and we feel that the health of the residents has been at the heart of every decision being made, and they're being made weekly. We get little notes all the time, but we are not disappointed. We meet our neighbors, we stand in our driveways and talk
Mhm.
to one another,
Yeah,
and do what we can until this horrible plague is over.
right.
But it has been good on both sides of it.
And just
Good.
again, a pre-COVID reality here. We're both clergy,
Mhm.
and this is the first time that we've been in a community where you literally walk up to where you can go to church. Because up in the terrace, there's a place, nice, very nice chapel.
Nice worship space,
And
yes.
and so it was meaningful for us to be able to walk up with our neighbors
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
go to church with your neighbor, which is the old model of what church is,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
community. And then we were welcomed into the process. We're both preachers, so we both have been on the preaching rotation. I'm a musician. I've been invited to that, and that's a joy because you want generativity. You want to
Right.
come to a place and
Yeah.
feel like you're still making a contribution.
Sure.
They got a choir that they got together.
Uh-huh.
They would bring in guests speakers and musicians and things for special events that were wonderful bands and groups.
Mhm.
And lovely dinners, Valentine's Day and special events.
Right. I mean, catered by lovely chefs,
Oh, yeah.
and I mean, just lovely. It's been lovely. The meal services here it's not like institution food at all. It's really good food,
Mhm.
and it's good food that's good for us at our age and stage in life.
Okay,
We're
good.
not overloaded
Yeah.
with sugar and salt
And
and
good
all sorts of
proportions.
things.
Yeah.
The portions are reasonable, and all of that. And then there's several opportunities in both of the larger apartment buildings. There are dining facilities.
Even
Sure.
even if you can't get out, the chefs are wonderful, and they'll make foods that are frozen or refrigerated, so you can go and get some soup, or you can go
Yeah.
and get some mac and cheese or something, and be able to take that, because the food services kind of was
Mhm.
Monday through Friday, at various times and so forth. So on the weekend, what do you do? Well, you can go to the market, and they open up a nice little marketplace for just little odds and ends.
Eggs,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
And other thing that really attracted us was not only the food service and the sense of community, the fact that there's an intentionality about Holland Home building community. That's another very attractive piece that we have street captains, you know, I don't know if that's the proper term, but people came and welcomed us, and they check on us. They bring the newsletter, and each street gets to know each other like a mini community. They have outings, you know, with field trips that you can go on. The Meyer, for those that are not from Grand Rapids, Meyer Gardens is a wonderful botanical garden and art sculptures and so forth. And in the summer times, they have live music, and so they will go there for outings there. They go to the theater. I mean, you name it. It really is a place where you can feel enriched. They're connected to Calvin University to get some continuing ed. You can get piped in and hear some
lectures get piped into certain, you know, at certain times to buildings and so forth. And there's a big volunteer community here. A lot of our residents volunteer at Meyer Gardens, or they volunteer at other places, or they volunteer at local churches if they're ministers. You know, there's ways for us to stay active and stay involved. And before the COVID, there were even buses where we got out and went leaf looking.
There's a wonderful gym with a saltwater pool. There's a craft room with wonderful things. In fact, there's a spinning wheel that we've got our eye on.
We're going to go see if it works.
And then next to it, for woodworkers, there's a woodworking craft shop. So, I mean, wonderful activity rooms where you can do
hairdresser, nail salons, you know, all of that was active before COVID. Of course, everybody's under different, you know, conditions right now, but I could see that if I were 85, I'm not quite 85 yet. If I were 85, no longer driving, could not get out, I'm in walking distance from just about everything I need.
Wonderful.
Yeah, even a movie theater with popcorn too.
Right. And our friends that are on the webinar will now see why we asked to talk to Kwasi and Sophia. I just right. So I have just a couple other really quick questions because I see there's a couple of questions in our box here. Did anything surprise you when you came to Holland Home?
I think just being pleasantly surprised at the community, the sense of community and the intentionality of it. And we were overwhelmed with the number of activities. I mean, our surprises were positive.
Very, very positive surprises. And as you can see, we're not Dutch, but it didn't matter.
Right. Yeah. Well, good. And do you have any final thoughts for us? For those that are on the call today?
We were remarking the other day that this is the first move that ever made sense for us. You know, when bishops send you places, don't tell my bishop, when bishops send you places, sometimes it doesn't make sense. And while you're there, you're still trying to make sense of it. This is the first move we've made that made sense to us.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. And I'm just going to plug your weaving, because I bought this scarf. I wear it all the time. I don't know if you can kind of see it, but this is something Kwasi and Sophia have woven. They dyed it with Kool-Aid, right?
No, not that one. You didn't get the Kool-Aid scarf, but we do have some we dye with Kool-Aid.
But this is beautiful. I bought this at our holiday bazaar last year, so I want to give them a little plug. You have an Etsy store.
We've moved on from Kool-Aid. Now we're into mud dye. There's something called Bengala mud dye from Japan. It's fun.
Oh yeah!
Wow. Well, we want to know more about that, but that's probably a different webinar. So we do have some questions, and you've answered the first one I had about downsizing. Somebody was asking, like, how do you do the big house down to the smaller space? So you've kind of answered that. Let's see what other questions we have in the box here.
Okay.
So here's one. Are there dining rooms for multiple people to eat? And yes, there are. Yeah.
Yes.
We've got both buildings. Do you want to talk about the private dining room? I don't want to answer these questions.
No, go ahead. But there are private dining rooms in both of the large apartment buildings, and you can reserve the space. Like if you have a family gathering and you wanted to, you know, anniversary party or something like that, you can do that.
And if you are on a special diet, such as a plant-based, can you get that kind of food? And you can. We
I
are
think so.
doing better with that, and we need to do better. But yes, you can. We do have vegetarian options,
Mhm.
and I think we are seeing more and more demand for it. So as that demand increases, we're going to continue to enhance our offerings. We about a year ago, we were contracting our food service out with with
Mhm.
an outside firm, and we made the decision strategically as an organization that we want to do it in-house. That way, we have a lot more control. And I think since then, um, would you say that our food quality went up when that happened?
Very, very much so.
Okay.
And people in each building love their chef.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they love their chefs.
And the chef really will listen to your dietary concerns and try to accommodate them
Mhm.
very well.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's like someone referred to living here as being in a five-star hotel. You know, and it's really a wonderful experience.
Wonderful. Um, Here's somebody, we're moving from out of the area as well. What about finding doctors? Did you have any?
Oh,
Oh,
that was another one of
it
our
was. It
draws
was.
because we lived in a very small community and we literally had to drive an hour away to get decent medical care.
Right.
So one of our concerns was moving to a place that had good medical care. Now they have something called the medical mile here, and the medical industry is very, very strong here in Grand Rapids.
Good quality care.
I just went through some major issues, two major issues this past year, and was very pleased to be in this place where we have such competent care. I mean, all kinds of doctors, specialists, you name it.
And I think this is where I called and told them what kind of doctor I wanted because I like DO instead of DR.
Right.
And I told them what kind of doctor I wanted, how recently I wanted them trained in med school, what region I felt that they should have come from. I mean, I gave them all these parameters,
Right.
and they put them into a computer at I think the Mercy Health System, and out came this list of doctors for me to try. I have not left my doctor.
Well,
And
great.
in fact,
Yeah.
whenever I need anything that's special, he always, I've never been dissatisfied with any of the referrals or any of that. The healthcare system is good here, and the priority health insurance is one that I use that I didn't know about. It's a Michigan
Right.
experience.
Mhm.
I'm used to Blue Cross or whatever, and the local insurance is very good for what I need right now. So we've been very satisfied in that area.
That's great. That's great. Um, and here's another question. Are you able to have overnight guests in your townhome?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Just not during COVID right now.
Right.
Yeah, but oh yeah,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah. People have come.
Yeah.
They've come. Our children were afraid for us to come here. They thought we were going to a nursing home, and and so we had each child and his family, to come and stay. And we took them, on tours of the other buildings and all of that. And now everyone's at ease that we're here.
So it's just like being in a regular home.
Oh yeah.
Whether you're in one of the apartments, the terrace or the ridge or whatever, or if you're a Raybrook, or you're in the like we're in like a condo. It's just like somebody inviting you to your home.
Right. That's great. That's wonderful. And then the other question I had in advance was how has, and you've touched on this a little bit, how's the COVID pandemic affected independent residents? Have activities been curtailed? They have been. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they've been curtailed everywhere.
Yeah,
Right
they had to
now, currently, our pool and our fitness area are open
Mhm.
by appointment.
The library's open.
Libraries open. The vibrant living activities, so like group activities, were in place until today with the new order from the
Right.
state. So those have been curtailed currently. And then, are there any restrictions for those in the townhomes? But you would just not. We don't regulate that. But you just have chosen
No.
not to have guests and.
Yeah, we're kind of on an honor system here.
Mhm.
I haven't felt confined or restricted or in a straitjacket.
Okay.
Yeah. And before this latest outbreak, this last surge has been horrible. But before then, we would see that our families would have, an anniversary parties in their homes or whatever,
Right.
and people were practicing whatever they felt
Right.
was reasonable, but no, we've not been dissatisfied with that at all. Then for some of the activities, our activities director has gone on to Zoom.
Hmm.
They've even been playing Zoom bingo. I
Yeah.
haven't played yet, but you know,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
Zoom bingo. And so they're adapting, and adaptive leadership is one of the things we teach in the seminary. And we were really excited to see how quickly people adapted here to
Right.
try to serve us in just different ways.
Right. That's wonderful. Yeah. And it started back up again today on our Facebook page. Our fitness team are doing live
Yes,
exercise, and
right.
that has been wildly successful.
Oh yeah.
We have people that aren't even Holland Home residents doing the exercises and logging on. So uh, I'm going to talk about a couple other quick things. If there's any more questions, if you just type it in the Q&A box. But I just wanted to give you kind of an overview to those on the webinar of what we have available and what's going on here. And so right now, currently, we do have some open availability. Here at Breton Homes North, our newest project, we have a couple white box homes available and a sales model that's already complete. That's available. And we have a couple regular Breton homes like where Quasi and Sophia live that you could move and be their neighbor. How awesome would that be? Uh, so, and then one of those is already ready and ready for occupancy. We have some 1 and 2 bedroom apartments available both at Breton Terrace and Breton Ridge, and some 1 bedroom apartments at Raybrook Estates, both in Estates 1 and Estates 3, where life care, that promise of life care, you're guaranteed access to higher care. And if you should outlive your resources, you're not asked to leave. That life care starts at about $92,000. So you think about the peace of mind that you get for that. Now, people are touring, people are moving in. We've got 5 moving in this month. We got 10 moving in next month between the 2 campuses, just like before COVID. They are doing this because the real estate market is super hot. The market is stronger than it was even a year ago. And most of the people we're dealing with have had multiple offers. So they've got this best of both where they can get a lot for their existing home and then they know where they're going. They don't have to, it's not like they have to find a home in the community. So,
you know, one of the things we didn't mention is that Holland Home also does give you assistance when you're moving, some financial assistance and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's a $1,500 allowance to help with the move, which really, especially in town, that would probably pay for a move. I mean, you probably paid more than that coming from
little more. 21,000 pounds.
What?
21,000 pounds. We got a lot of books.
All the books.
All the books. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, books were heavy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very heavy. I didn't think about
Heavy.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you can reserve now. What people on the web could reserve a place now and lock into 2020 pricing. We have a price increase January 1st. If you reserve now, you wouldn't move until early 2021. So we've had a number of people that are taking advantage of that. And I had on my list the move-in allowance, but Quasi helped me with that, so I appreciate that. I don't see any other questions in the box, so I will add our next webinar, webinar number 3, is going to be December 9th on a Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern time. And that's going to be about downsizing and staging. So we're going to talk to somebody, 2 organizations, Green Ridge Realty, about selling, about staging, and then Pathway Senior Movers. We're going to talk about that whole concept like we talked about a little bit today, and about downsizing and how to get your arms around that. We thought that was good timing as we kind of go into winter and we've, maybe we're home a little more and have time to do that. So having no other questions that I see in the box, thank you so much for your wonderful expressions today and your great energy. And we're so happy to have you here. Thank you for participating. All those that have tuned in, with people from multiple states and a couple from Tunisia, missionaries. So we've got, this webinar stuff works really well. And those local people, I hope you enjoy your treats, and we'll look forward to talking to you all again. And so go out and have a great and healthy day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.